If I could have everyone's attention, please. Hope everybody had an opportunity to find some lunch and get most of the way through with your lunch, but I'm really thrilled with the turnout we have here at the 2025 AI in Agriculture and Natural Resources Conference. Thank you for being here, and by the way, thank you for making the effort to come through all the stormy weather that we had. I know it was difficult for some people, but appreciate your perseverance. So I wanted to start out just by giving a bit of history on this conference. In 2021, there was a Hatch multi-state project that was formed called S1090 AI and Agroecosystems, Big Data and Smart Technology-Driven Sustainable Production. Long name, but essentially AI and Agriculture multi-state. And you'll notice that the S designation means that the multi-state came out of the sort of the southeastern region of the U.S., and so a lot of the participants in that have been southeastern, but it's really a wider group than that. We have people engaged from the Northeast and the Midwest and the West, and so it is a large multi-state group now. That group, in its first meeting in Gainesville, Florida, decided to host a conference. And that's not been really common, as far as I know, among multi-state projects to host a conference. But we put the first conference together in 2022 at Auburn, Alabama. Brenda Ortiz, I know you're here somewhere. Raise your hand. Hey, Brenda. So look over there. Brenda Ortiz was the key person in doing that first conference. It went really well. And you can see the theme there, Envisioning 2050 in the Southeast, AI-driven innovations in agriculture. So we thought, okay, that went so well, we're going to do it again. And so in 2023, we had a conference in Orlando, Florida. Katie Migliaccio and Brenda were heavily involved in that. Katie is now Dean of Ag at University of Florida, but at that time was the department head in their Ag and Bioengineering department. The theme for that conference was AI in Agriculture, Innovation and Discovery to Equitably Meet Producer Needs and Perceptions. We did another conference last year. Seth Murray and Ollie Ferries, Seth Murray from Texas A&M and Ollie Ferries from Prairie View A&M were sort of the leads on that. And the title of that one was AI in Agriculture and Natural Resources, Innovation and Discovery to Manage Sustainability in a New World of Environmental Stress. Well, we took on the task of holding the fourth AI in Agriculture conference here at Mississippi State this year. The themes or title of this one is AI in Agriculture and Natural Resources, the role of AI in autonomous agricultural systems and socioeconomic effects. And so just very quickly, autonomous systems are growing in interest. In fact, let me jump to the next slide here. This is a graphic that was put out by a group called the International Federation of Robotics. And you'll note there, this is top 5 global robotics trends in 2025. And the first one mentions artificial intelligence. So there is a recognition, particularly at this point in history, that artificial intelligence is key to the development of autonomous systems. And so that falls very nicely in line with our interest in this conference. But we also wanted to consider socioeconomic effects. For example, as these types of technologies come onto farm and in the food supply chain, how are they adopted? How do they affect various scales of farms and that kind of thing? So you'll see some interest in that here, some presentations on that. I want to recognize, before I move on, our sponsors. So Mississippi State University's Agricultural Autonomy Institute is a diamond level sponsor. Multiple organizations are platinum level sponsors, including John Deere, Prairie View A&M, University of Florida's IFAS Research, NC State University, and AI Climate, which is one of the National Science Foundation and USDA funded AI institutes. Gold level sponsors were Centera and IFT. Centera is essentially a sensors company working together with IFT, which is a drone company. Mississippi State University Computer Science and Engineering, the Department of Ag and Bioengineering, and also Central UAS Technologies, which is a drone company based in Florida. Silver level sponsors, the Ag and Forestry Experiment Station, Division of Ag, Forestry, and Veterinary Medicine, the Center for Advanced Vehicular Systems, all at Mississippi State. You can see we had lots of Mississippi State entities supporting this conference, very appreciative of their support. Auburn Agriculture and Ag Launch, which is sort of an entrepreneurial and venture capital company for ag technology based in Memphis, and you'll hear from them late this afternoon. And then finally, Williams and Equipment Supply Company provided some support for us with respect to the poster awards competition. which I do want to mention for all of you students who are presenting posters. If you hadn't noticed already, we are going to have a poster competition with some prizes associated with that. So be on your game. And special thanks also to USDA. If I'm not mistaken, every year that this conference has been held, we've written a grant proposal to USDA, and we've been funded each year to help support this conference. We're very thankful to them. We received support again this year, so thanks to USDA. Just for a moment, I want to take a minute to go through the schedule of the conference with you. This is Monday. You can see we had several workshops and tours this morning. I hope those went well. I participated in a part of one of the tours. The attendance was great discussion. So I assume that all of that's gone well up to this point. After lunch today, we're having the first keynote on AI in agriculture, followed by a coffee break, and then we're having the CAST paper rollout. CAST, the Council for Agricultural Science and Technology, is publishing a paper on AI in agriculture. The rollout for that will be at 3:30, then a brief discussion from Ag Launch, and then the poster session this evening. And I'll get to the logistics of how everything is arranged here at the mill in just a moment, but bear in mind that the poster competition will be in the gallery, which is kind of that way to the northwest from here. I'll come back to that in a moment. There will be heavy hors d'oeuvres, cash bar there. If you registered, you should have gotten a free drink ticket with your registration. So Tuesday, breakfast tomorrow morning starting at 7:30. Industry expert panel first thing at 8:30. Coffee break, and then that's when our technical sessions. We've got 5 technical sessions that are in separate breakout rooms starting at 10. Then we have lunch. We have our second keynote on AI for autonomous agricultural systems. Then we have an autonomous systems invited speaker session and a socioeconomic issues invited speaker session. At that point, this room is going to get divided in two, and we'll have the socioeconomic issues invited speakers on one side and the autonomous systems invited speakers on the other side, so you can decide which of those invited speaker sessions you want to go to. After that, we've got a grower expert panel. We have a couple of really great Mississippi farmers and a great Illinois farmer and a great Alabama farmer who are all going to be here talking about technology and how they use it and see it being used on their farm. And then we're going to have a really cool dinner and social tomorrow night. You don't want to miss this. We're going over to the football stadium, and we'll be in the Gridiron Club there. We'll have excellent food. We will have some music there, and I think you'll really enjoy that. And we'll bus everybody over there from right outside in the little cul-de-sac to the stadium and back. Okay, we wrap up on Wednesday, starting with breakfast. We have several guest speakers on, 3 guest speakers on the socioeconomic issues of AI in agriculture, then a coffee break, then our final technical session, groups, technical session 6 to 10 again, and then we'll have the luncheon with poster awards and closing remarks. And then for those of you who are involved in the multi-state project groups, this is S1090, the one that I mentioned earlier, which is AI for agriculture, and S1098, which is a new one, which is autonomous systems in agriculture. Both of those multi-state projects are going to be meeting here as soon as our luncheon concludes, or essentially as soon as our luncheon concludes from 2 to 5. Those two groups will meet together for 1 hour just to talk about overlap and collaboration and that kind of thing, and then they'll break off into 2-hour meetings by themselves individually. Okay, a little bit of logistics here. You are here in the grand ballroom, and you came here through the grand hall, and you'll note that on either side of the hallway, that's where the technical session rooms are. There are 2 on the right side as you walk back down, 3 on the left side. We're sort of confined in this yellow circle. The bathrooms are just outside the door to your right here from the grand ballroom. Oops, let me back up. And one other thing I would point out is the poster session will be in the gallery, which again is a little bit further beyond the bathrooms back that way. You can, I think, enter from this side. I know you can walk around through the hallway and enter from the front side. And there's some cool stuff going on down here. We've set up some decorations for good pictures if you want to take group pictures. We've also got the holobox there with several of us talking about AI and agriculture technology and some cool things. So please go check those things out. Okay, Dr. Robert Strong. Doc Robert, would you raise your hand real quick? Dr. Robert Strong from Texas A&M University has put together a survey to evaluate the conference relative to the objectives of the project. so that we can report back to USDA NIFA, and also so that we can better understand the outcomes for future conference development. So if you haven't already done this, we should have this QR code in various places. Please take the time to go on and fill out. It's a brief survey. It won't take you long, but it will really help us as we report back and try to figure out how to make this conference better going forward. Also, please visit the AI Climate Institute table, which is just out the door to your right. I think it may be the first one. And you can take a quick iPad survey to share your views on developing AI to help farmers with climate-land interactions, mitigation, adaptation, trade-offs, and economy. And they'll enter you in a raffle for a $20 gift card for participating. So please do that. Finally, one last little thing I wanted to say. I apologize. I can't remember his name. He is an assistant professor at University of Kentucky. Somebody help me if you know who I'm talking about. Victor is a graduate student. It's his professor. Toshi, I know, is what he goes by, but I can't think of his full name. Anyway, we'll call him Dr. Toshi at University of Kentucky. Reached out to me and asked me to post this because they are developing a new version of Precision Agriculture Basics book. His graduate student, I think, is here. Victor, are you here? His graduate student may be coming a little later, but he is supposed to be here and wants to take some very brief video interviews of people's thoughts on precision agriculture and AI. So if you want to sign up for that, use the QR code to sign up for that, and hopefully Victor will get that and reach out to you, but hopefully he's here somewhere. Okay, moving on very quickly. We have several outstanding administrators here at Mississippi State University who, again, have been very supportive of this conference. And I want to start out by introducing our university president, President Dr. Mark Keenum, to come up and give a few comments. And then we have a few more after him. President Keenum.
Thank you, Dr. Thomason, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Mississippi State University. We're honored to be able to host this fourth annual AI in Agriculture and Natural Resources Conference here at our wonderful university. This building that you're in is our MSU, the mill at MSU. This is quite a historic building that we're in today. This building opened in 1902. And it was not a convention center like it is today. It was a textile mill when it first opened. And they manufactured wonderful cotton textiles that were literally shipped all around the world from this facility here. In fact, I'm told that when this building first opened here in Starkville, this was one of the few buildings in Starkville that had electricity. And so I'm told that the townspeople would get in their buggies with their horse-drawn buggies and sit out here along in front of the building in the evenings to look at this building all illuminated. That was the entertainment back in 1902. Just drive down and look at that electric building. This building's come a long way since then. The university acquired this property in the mid-1960s. And so for 40 plus years, this building was our university's physical plant. Our carpenters and plumbers, electricians, and all the people that service our campus were housed here, and all their materials were stored here. In fact, this room we're in here, I visited it back many years ago. This is where they stored a lot of our timber products were in this building we're in now. But we had a vision to bring a convention center to our campus, and this was part of our vision, to revitalize this historic building and make it into this beautiful convention center that we're able to enjoy today. And it's been with us now in this current position for about 10 years, I guess. And it's also the home to our MSU Foundation, Development Foundation, and our Alumni Association is housed here in this building. So anyway, I thought you'd like to know a little history of this wonderful building. And I do want to thank you all for taking the time to travel here, for many of you from different parts around this country to come here and participate in this very important conference. That's important for our future. The ongoing work, the work you're doing now, but the ongoing work and your vision for your specified field of expertise in this field of not just artificial intelligence, but agriculture and technology and innovation. And, well, how can we feed the world? You know, food is vital. We have to have food to survive. And it's critical for us to be thinking about how we are going to feed our nation. A nation that can't feed itself is a nation that's in dire trouble. And how blessed we are to be here in this country of the United States, where we have such an abundance of agriculture and food products to feed our citizens. And not only feed our citizens, but to feed the world. We're blessed in so many ways. But the challenges are still there. And you know most all of the challenges that we face. But one of the daunting challenges is just our global population. You know, today we have about 8 billion people that we share this world with. 8 billion. And I think about that. From Adam and Eve to today, it's taken all that long period of time to have a global population of 8 billion people. And yet, in the wink of an eye, in the next 25 years, it's projected that our global population will exceed 10 billion people. And unfortunately, here in 2025, we have nearly 1 billion people on our planet that are severely malnourished in this world. And we lose several millions of people every year today because they can't put enough food in their mouth to survive. That's our world today. And yet, in the span of just 25 years, we're going to add 2 billion more people to our global dinner table. And we can't feed everyone adequately today. How are we going to do that over the span of the next 2 billion more people? And of course, the world, we hope and pray, doesn't stop growing after 2050. This is going to be a continuing challenge for humanity to figure out how we can properly feed and sustain our global citizens with adequate nutrition for their lives and their well-being. That's a challenge. But I'm an eternal optimist, and I see a future where we are and will be able to do that. And how and why? Because of people like you sitting in this room who take the time, who through your research, through your academics, through your scholarship, through your commitment, your passion, your industry, are focused on the very same things that I'm describing and what we can do. Yes, artificial intelligence, autonomous technology, unmanned aviation, on and on, computing capacity, and all the things that we're able to do through science and innovation, and all the myriad of things that science, research, academia, government, and industry collaborating and working together. Looking at when Dr. Thomason was showing the sponsors of this conference, again, academia, industry, and government partnerships will enable us to do what we're all called upon to do. This is passionate for me personally. I'm very blessed to be here at this great land-grant university that has a mission to do exactly what I'm just describing. That's part of who we are as a university and the work that we're doing here and our very robust research and innovation that we do at Mississippi State. I'm proud that we're a Carnegie I, R1 research university, generating over $300 million, $320 million this past year. More than a third of that is dedicated and committed to agriculture research. We are a leading, innovative agriculture research university, and we want to continue to do that. Of course, we partner with the Department of Agriculture and numerous other government agencies. But to do the work of artificial intelligence, as you all know in this field, it takes a lot of computational capacity, and how blessed we are to be the fourth-ranked university among all colleges and universities in this nation in supercomputing capacity. We are a supercomputing university. The Atlas supercomputer, one of our many supercomputers, is the Department of Agriculture supercomputer here on our campus. And it serves the Agriculture Research Service platform for research for the whole nation right here at Mississippi State University. So we know a lot about these technologies and innovations and are committed to applying our science and knowledge and technologies to addressing these critical issues of our future. I was blessed to serve in the George W. Bush administration as Undersecretary for the U.S. Department of Agriculture before I returned back home to my alma mater here to take this current position. And in that capacity, I had the Farm Service Agency, which administers all of the most of the domestic farm programs in our country, federal crop insurance program, but also the Foreign Agricultural Service. FAS was under my jurisdiction, and all the programs, trade negotiations. I spent a lot of time in foreign negotiating meetings talking about tariffs. Y'all heard anything about tariffs lately? Tariffs are very complex and very complicated. I know firsthand in my negotiations with foreign leaders from around the world on agricultural trade. But also had in my jurisdiction all of the U.S. Department of Agriculture's humanitarian programs, McGovern-Dole program, Food for Progress, Cochrane Fellowship program. I gained firsthand knowledge in traveling to foreign countries and seeing how this country is and will continue to impact lives of people around the world. I have a passion for that. And I want to see our university, again, working with all of you here collaboratively in our mission, our joint shared mission in doing that. During my tenure at USDA, I had the pleasure of meeting Norman Borlaug, Nobel Prize recipient Norman Borlaug, who had such an impact in our world. And not only meet him, but have lunch with him. And what a memorable experience that was for me personally, to meet and get to know him. But he once said that you can't build world peace on empty stomachs and human misery. He was right. You can't. Our goal is to feed the world. The work you're doing here is meaningful, it's lasting, and it's impactful, and it will be something for you to continue to do in your remarkable careers going forward. So I commend you for, again, taking time to travel here, to interact with our faculty and teams here and scientists, but also all the leaders from around the country who are here. This conference is for you to learn, to gain, and share information and knowledge. And we're thankful that, again, that you're here. So have a blessed conference. And as we love to say here at Mississippi State, hail dear old state. Thank you all.
Thank you, President Keenum. I want to back up just for a second because I had to refresh my memory. Dr. Katsutoshi Mizuta, University of Kentucky, asked me to share this with you. Victor, are you here? Victor? Not seeing Victor. Okay, we'll keep working on that. But please, if you want to sign up for this, take a picture of that QR code and get yourself signed up. Okay. Very good. So one thing I would point out with our administrators is that we have a pretty heavy flavor of agricultural backgrounds, including President Keenum, who is a graduate of our College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. That also includes our next speaker, Dr. David Shaw, our Provost and Executive Vice President. Dr. Shaw, would you please join us?
Well, let me echo what Dr. Keenum shared with you. Welcome, And we love to have folks come visit here at Mississippi State University. And I'll have to follow up with what Dr. Thomason was just saying, because the remarks that I wanted to share with you actually go all the way back to growing up on a family farm in Oklahoma, in the southwestern part of the state, and spending endless hours on the business end of a hoe handle in peanuts and watermelons and cantaloupes, knowing that there had to be a better way. And that piqued a lifelong interest in science, specifically in agriculture. And so the opportunity then to be able to leave that family farm and go to graduate school at Oklahoma State, and then to be able to come here to Mississippi State, I have been fascinated with the technological advancements that have taken place globally and here at MSU over the last 40 years that I have been here at this institution. And that comes in a lot of different flavors. Technology is one of those that is a very broad term. And so that has meant the development of new technologies for pest management, which is the discipline that I come from. It has also developed the ability to understand so many of the other things that all of you represent in the areas that you work in. You know, I early on had the opportunity to be able to think about how we can minimize pesticide applications and maximize pest control at the same time, for sustainability, for environmental benefits, as well as for economic benefits. And so relatively early on, I had the opportunity to get involved with several research projects that were funded by USDA and then with NASA looking at spatial technologies. And so from a weed scientist standpoint, what that means is we recognize that weeds are not ubiquitous across an entire field, but they tend to be in clumps or in patches. And so the ability to identify where those are and then work with the sprayer technology to be able to turn that off and on was something that I was fascinated with. And that ultimately led to the creation through some NASA funding for what we now call our Geosystems Research Institute here at Mississippi State University. And through the GRI and the work that we did across the entire campus and frankly across the entire globe with partners, we had the opportunity to go far beyond just the spatial technology idea. And so some of the things that you're here to talk about today through Wednesday are things that I have been fascinated with, been working with some amazing colleagues to be able to have the opportunity to see the incredible advancements that are taking place today in artificial intelligence applications in agriculture. And so now sitting in the provost office for the last 6 years, I have a different vantage point, but frankly, I wanted to share with you what my personal vantage point was, because that really drives my interest in even being able to speak to you very briefly today and provide an additional welcome, because the academic programs that we are developing here at Mississippi State, I'm incredibly proud of. I'm also not satisfied with, because I see so much more advancement taking place in research, and the partnership between research and academics here on this campus is growing and strong. And so as you saw even on the sponsorship slides, having the opportunity to have the College of Agriculture, the College of Engineering, the College of Business, so many of the colleges on this campus that are all contributing a number of different facets to our work in AI, in the broad spectrum, and in agriculture specifically, I am just incredibly pleased with. And so welcome to the conference. I thank Alex and for all of the people that have been involved in putting this conference together. Really excited to see the program that has been put together, and so looking forward to hearing all the results that you share this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shaw. Next is Dr. Julie Jordan, who is the Vice President for Research and Economic Development here at Mississippi State University.
So welcome, and I'm an engineer, so I'll kind of break the ag mold here, and I think we have another colleague of mine that you'll hear from in a minute ago that is an engineer too. But welcome. We're very glad to have this conference here. I'm very glad to see the collaboration with Auburn, Florida, and A&M, because I think that is something from a Vice President for Research point of view that my colleagues at those institutions I know well, and that we all know that in order to do the best work that we can do as universities, particularly as land-grant universities, we need to work together. And so collaboration across I applaud the collaboration in this partnership. It was kind of funny, I was listening to a podcast, as I often do, on the way to work this morning, and the one this morning was a conversation with an author whose name is Reid Hoffman. He's an entrepreneur, you may have heard of him, entrepreneur and venture capitalist. He was part of what they called the PayPal mafia when PayPal started. And Elon Musk happened to be among that group of people that was involved back then, and they've all kind of gone their separate ways. The second company he started was called LinkedIn, and so obviously he's done very well. But the book, he has several books, but the one he just released, and I think that's what the podcast was for, obviously promoting his latest book, is called Super Agency. What could actually go right with our AI future? So there's so much out there about what is potentially can go wrong with AI in our future that it's fascinating to see somebody who really knows what they're talking about putting a book out there that says what could go right. And this concept of super agency, of where AI is designed in a way that it increases our individual capabilities to solve problems, complex problems that are otherwise are overwhelming that we can't solve. And the idea of this super agency is that I could have agency and somebody else has agency, and when we work together, we create this sort of super agency model. So for example, I have an app on my phone, perhaps you do too, somewhere that I'm learning how to use this thing around my private health care, okay? So if my doctor is also plugged into that same tool, we can create this much better opportunity to care for my health by him having access or her having access to this technology and me having access, and we can work together with the AI and create a better outcome. And the idea that you as researchers can have a tool, your farmers and producers can have a tool, and you are collaborating and solving complex problems faster that otherwise you wouldn't be able to do. So this concept of super agency and the idea of what can go right, I know that's why you're here today, because I think you're interested in how AI can go right for our farmers and agriculture, our economy, and what's happening in that space for this country. So anyway, so welcome to Mississippi State University. I hope you have a great time while you're here, and maybe the weather clears up and is a little better for you. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan. Our next speaker is Dr. Keith Coble, who is our Vice President for the Division of Agriculture, Forestry, and Veterinary Medicine.
Welcome to Mississippi State. We're so happy to have all of you coming from other schools to come visit our campus. We're so proud of this facility and our campus. If you get a chance, get out and about, and by the way, go see our presidential library. If they haven't told you that we have a presidential library, we have the Ulysses S. Grant Library in our library building. It's a great visit while you're here. One of the things that I wanted to say to you is I'm so proud of this group. I went to Auburn and attended your first conference. I appreciate the fact that this group has started out as a multi-state group. Essentially, in my career as an agricultural economist, I was raised by a multi-state group. I began attending a multi-state regional group when I was in graduate school. I did not miss going to that group meeting for several years. I had the best mentors that I ever had professionally were in that group. It was a group strong enough that it attracted people from all over the country. So for you graduate students that are here today, participate in this group, keep coming back year after year after year, and these will be the people that give you the good advice on that first job of how to succeed. These will be the people that will write the reference letters for you when you apply for tenure. And so this is a mechanism within our land grant system that I strongly advocate, and I thank you all for what you're doing as a multi-state regional group. The other thing that I would say is that we're happy to see our Ag Autonomy Institute take the leadership on bringing this to campus. We think they're doing some great work in this space. I also want to commend you, because I'm an economist, that considering the socioeconomic side of the adoption of these technologies, that's not trivial. And I appreciate what you're considering, because oftentimes we kind of get those two pieces separated and we don't bring them back together. If people do not adopt this technology, then it's not going to have an impact. And so I'm excited about that part of your program. And finally, I'm so excited about CAST releasing its report on AI this afternoon. I took a look at that report late last week. I think it's impressive. I think it's going to be impactful, and a lot of people are going to want to see it. So thank you very much. I'm glad you're here.
So I want to take just a moment before I introduce Dr. Willard. It's okay, Dr. Willard. Just to say how pleased I am that we have such an august group of speakers to lead the meeting, and frankly, I'm shocked that all of you were able to attend today, and I'm really happy about that. Just thank you all for taking the time to come. And before we move on, I would also like to just mention those of you who have been on the planning committee for the conference. If you would just stand for a moment. I don't think all the planning committee members are here, but I think a few of you are here. Let's give a hand to the planning committee. And several of them are here from Mississippi State, but there are several from other universities: University of Kentucky, Louisiana State University, Texas A&M. Help me, I'm probably forgetting, from University of Alabama. Thank you, Sharon. Anyway, great work on that. The one person, and we will recognize her later, but Amberlynn Moore, I think, did more than anybody else to set this conference up, and really want to thank her for that. So we'll make sure she's recognized for that later. As we move on, our next speaker is Dr. Scott Willard. Dr. Willard is the director of the Mississippi Agricultural and Forestry Experiment Station, and also the dean of our College of Agriculture and Life Sciences.
Thank you, Dr. Thomason, and again to the organizing and planning committees. Kudos to you. These things don't just happen. I know there's also a lot of staff behind the scenes as well. And like Dr. Coble and some others, I too was at the original conference that was in Auburn, and it's been great to see the progression of this in the topics, different topics, and the focus of the different sessions that have happened. I know there'll be more sessions to come at NC State and elsewhere. And like Dr. Coble, I too was raised, I guess you'd say, as a faculty member in a multi-state regional research project group. And the experiment station directors, these groups are very important to us. They're very important to seeing the work that comes together and synergizes out of those efforts from having multi-states, multi-institutions, interdisciplinary efforts coming together. And so, again, just like was said before by Dr. Coble and previously by Dr. Thomason and talking about it, thank you for continuing to participate in those, because they lead to great things and great collaboration, and it's great to see it here. I know as an experiment station director, there may be future opportunities from a national program standpoint to have a national program group, and I think some of the multi-state projects will continue to operate in those spaces, but there may also be other efforts that will spin from this that will put even more of a focus and more attention on ag autonomy and all of the different disciplines that it touches. You know, when I started in animal science, I taught AI. But it was artificial insemination at that point. And so when I started saying, oh, this new AI initiative, I'm right in with everybody. And but what I would tell you is that in the seat that I'm in now, I see how autonomous systems and artificial intelligence is making its way into many different facets, and you already know this, of our disciplines. Last week we had a wildlife damage conference that was on the campus. And a lot of that focused on wildlife damage to agricultural systems. And the amount of talks and discussions that were all about using autonomous systems and artificial intelligence and how that creeps into everything you're hearing on the news, from high-path avian influenza and detection and sensing to hogs to deer and otherwise, is just amazing to me. This weekend, I actually had a conversation with a colleague about a wearable device for human, a medical device, that helps people with weak leg muscles to be able to get a little bit more of, as you say, a skip in their step. But it uses AI. It basically trains itself on the gait of the individual to then adjust to provide extra effort. And as part of that conversation, my mind all of a sudden went to, could we do this in horses? You know, can we use this in therapy? Can we use this in performance in horses, ways of detecting slight changes in gait and how that, and we had a great conversation about how we could maybe plug some different people in. So you never know where the magic might happen in talking about one application in one discipline and how it can cross over into the other. And I know, again, preaching to the choir here, right, in this group, in the work that you do. The other thing that's touched me the last couple of weeks is startup packages. I've done startup packages for some different faculty. One was in fashion design, one was animal science, and one was landscape architecture. And in their startup packages, inevitably had to do with autonomous or sensing or artificial intelligence and all those different areas that sometimes previously we wouldn't have thought about how AI or autonomous systems can be used in fashion design. But it's amazing to me the number of areas that begins to touch. We have 4 research and extension centers throughout the state of Mississippi, over 12 branch stations. We have an equipment program and an infrastructure program, and more often than not, I'm making investments at those stations in different aspects of technology and equipment that will support the future sensing and opportunities for the faculty to be able to garner equipment and stay on the cutting edge and the state of the art in their science, which inevitably revolves around all the topics that you'll be talking about today. So let me just welcome you to campus, appreciate what you're doing. I look forward to sort of coming in and out over the next couple of days and interacting with some of you and hearing about all the really cool applications that you all are doing in sensing and autonomous systems, and as Dr. Coble said, even the socioeconomic components of that are very important, the people part of that's very important. And kudos to you for being here and investing in yourselves, in your association, in the multi-states, and in this conference to continue the dialogue. And I look forward to the outcomes and the opportunities that come from that. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr. Willard. And before I introduce our next speaker, I would just say that I knew that if I started mentioning universities, I was going to forget at least one. We did have Dr. David Mulla, who is at University of Minnesota, who is also on the planning committee. David, I don't know if you're in the room at the moment, but thanks for your work on that. And if I left anybody else out, please let me know and I will mention you. And with that, our next speaker is Dr. Angus Catchott, who is the director of our Extension Service.
Thank you, Alex. Have you ever had a topic that you're really just extremely interested in, enamored with it for that matter, but you really don't know a lot about it? That's kind of how I feel about AI. I'm very interested in it. In fact, when I interviewed for this job a year and a half ago, I talked a lot about how AI needed to be incorporated more into Extension and the things we can do to help move that platform. You know, I was thinking about this as I was kind of putting a few thoughts together, sitting here thinking about technologies as they come and go. I see some gray hair in the room. 30 years ago, the first GMO crop, Flavor Saver tomatoes, were commercialized. You know, they didn't make it very long. They made it a few years. There's various reasons, but one of the reasons that was associated with the failure of Flavor Saver tomatoes was consumer concerns. A couple of years later, BT cotton was introduced. We have several GMO crops now. But think about the perceptions of genetically modified organisms with society today. And I bring that up because I think we did a bad job back then, and you could say Extension could be somewhat to blame for that. We carry the message of you researchers out there a lot and try to translate it to the layman. But I don't think we did a good enough job back then staying ahead of the concerns that the consumers have. Think about AI. My mother is scared to death of this technology. She calls me all the time. She's a hairdresser, 50 years. She'll call me and say, Angus, what do you think about AI? I'm like, well, in what aspect? And she'll ask me these questions. She thinks it's extremely scary. So a lot of you are very familiar with AI, but you may not. I guess what I'm saying, Extension is a partnership with all of you, and if I had to guess, most of you are probably researchers to a large degree. I think we can help you get past some of these initial phases. The last thing we want to do is come out with some fabulous technologies that are not accepted by the public. You know, just this morning, I was challenged by somebody. We have 70,000 4-H'ers in the state of Mississippi. That's a extension program that we run. Somebody challenged me. They said, is there any way you think we could get all 70,000 of these 4-H'ers in Davis Wade Stadium, our football stadium? Well, obviously, y'all know that's not possible. There's no way I'd get them together. But as little as I know about AI, in about 5 minutes, I generated a picture of 70,000 kids packed in Davis Wade Stadium, and I sent it. Now, the only problem was the goalpost was on the sideline and not in the end zone. But I did it. You know, I think about a couple things. I'm just going to give you just a couple quick examples. And you think about this as you go on in your daily lives. When you got the ordinary citizen that may be scared of this technology. I was at dinner with a lady not long ago, and we're friends. I've known her for a few years now since I've been in this role. But somehow we connected the first time I met her. She has a parrot that she's had in her family for 30 years. So every time I see her, I say, how's your parrot? How's Smokey Joe? So she wanted to show me some pictures of Smokey Joe. She's got like 6,000 pictures in her photo library. And after 10 minutes, she couldn't find a picture. And I said, go to your search and write parrot. Every picture she ever took of Smokey Joe popped up right there. Then I had to explain to her, that is your phone in your hand using AI. Right there. She didn't understand it. Had a neighbor the other day. He and I, we hunt together. We ran 25 cell cameras this year as a group, he and I. And it would take hours at daylight in the morning to go through all of our pictures. You know, we're looking for this big buck. And he did not know it, and he was missing a lot of the deer that I was seeing. But he didn't know that even these cell cameras, the apps, have a function where you can sort for just whitetail bucks, or you could sort for turkeys or raccoons or whatever. And I explained to him that was AI. What I'm telling you all is, I think Extension, these are personal stories, but as you go through with all the research and all the great things that you are going to do, you don't forget about Extension. We can be the messengers for you, but we also don't need to forget, we don't need to leave the general public behind, because there are a lot of people that are really, really afraid of this technology, my mother being one. And I do my best to explain it, but again, I don't understand it as much as I should. But Extension can partner with you. We're going to partner here at Mississippi State. When you go back to your own states, don't forget about Extension. We can help carry that message for you. I hope you have a great conference. I hope I get to meet a lot of you. Well.
Just remembered that I also forgot to mention Prairie View A&M University was on our planning committee, so thanks to Prairie View. And again, if I've forgotten anybody else, please let me know. Our next speaker is Dr. Robert Green, who is interim dean of the Bagley College of Engineering here at Mississippi State.
Well, I also want to welcome you to Mississippi State and echo the comments of Dr. Coble, particularly about visiting the Ulysses S. Grant Presidential Library, one of my favorite places to hide out on campus. Like Dr. Jordan, say for the fact that I like to eat, I do not come from an agricultural background. I come from one of engineering and policy, and I think you need to combine that with agriculture along with business and logistics to address some of the concerns that Dr. Keenum mentioned this morning. Growing population, increasing change in climate, it's going to produce some interesting issues for us. And I think the solution to that is going to be a marriage of all of those disciplines together to find a solution to that problem that we can do efficiently and economically and feed the world. We've done a lot of work here in autonomy, particularly out at our Center for Advanced Vehicular Systems. When you think about it, having a car drive down the highway is pretty easy. You've got road, you go around a curve, you're pretty sure there's more road around the curve. You've got lane markers to keep an eye on. If you run across something on the road, it's most likely a car. But when you start getting off-road, that's when you start running into problems. And we've been doing some work there, particularly for the military. How do you avoid targets? How do you avoid trees? When you look out and you see something nice and flat, is that a parking lot? Is it a nice level field of sand, or is it a pond? You know, and those are the sorts of applications I think that we're going to have to deal with in agriculture that will make autonomy equally applicable there as it is on the road. And artificial intelligence is clearly going to play a big role in that. I'm happy to say that our Department of Computer Science and Engineering here is really on top of artificial intelligence. We have recently created a bachelor's degree, the first BS degree in the Southeast and one of the first in the nation. We're in the process of working on a master's degree in that area. And I think that is going to give us the foundation we all need on which we can build artificial intelligence. But while that can build the foundation, we really need the individual disciplines to develop the applications of that. And that is something we're also embracing here, not only in engineering, but I believe across the campus, in taking discipline-specific knowledge and information, and how can we build on that artificial intelligence foundation and come up with some really good applications. And I think the Ag Autonomy Institute is going to be leaders in doing that, as well as all of you are here as well. So I do hope you enjoy your conference. I know you came here to listen to other people talk. So with that, I'll say welcome again and thank you for coming.
Okay, our next speaker is Mike Nowicki, who is the director of our High Performance Computing Collaboratory. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Hey. All right. Hey, I'm Mike Nowicki, director for the High Performance Computing Collaboratory. I don't know, man. I guess you know what? I'll just figure it out. All right. So, you know, at the what's exciting at MSU in regards to artificial intelligence in agriculture? If you've looked at AI lately, you know you can't spell AI without HPC. Mississippi State has 5 supercomputing clusters, 2 of which have been on the top 500 list, the 500 fastest computers in the world. One was 60th fastest in the world when it first came here. And if you're super nerdy, you can't spell AI without GPUs. We have a single system right now that has 64 A100 GPUs. So if you're kind of deep into the nerdship there, you know that that's a big deal. We'd like to have the H100s and H200s, but that's it. So that's a really exciting kind of message about the equipment, because if you want to do AI and you don't have a supercomputer, you're not going to do that. But what's even more important than the equipment is the people. So the first group of people to recognize is I've got visionary leadership that supports us. You've seen the president, you've seen the provost, you've seen 2 senior vice presidents up here today that understand the importance of computing and what role it's going to play in our research and our academics today. So that makes my job a lot easier. So thank you, Dr. Shaw, Dr. Jordan, Dr. Coble. The other thing I'd like to talk about is we have a 35-year history here at Mississippi State in supercomputing. That means that I've got 30 people that have been, over a 30-year period or so, have been managing high-performance computing systems. If you don't know, these are not your laptop computers, that you don't open them up out of the box and start running them. It is a skill set just to system administrate these things. We have a 45 petabyte storage system. That's 45,000 terabytes. This is not a USB drive, right? There's a lot of management. And in fact, I've got one of my architects out at Stanford University right now doing a user group to better manage our storage, because that is a really important item. And then another group of people, and I would say this is the most important group of people, is our researchers, right? These computers are not self-licking lollipops, right? They don't exist just to exist. I am a computer scientist. I know Dr. Rahimi is a computer scientist. We would sit around and play computer games on them all day. When I say computer games, I don't mean like video games. I mean the old, the robot walk, or the Cracker Barrel game, right, where you solve it in different ways. Those are the games that are really fun. Graph theory. But one of the things we do is, like, how do we apply it to agriculture? There's computer vision that can be applied out there in regards to, like, see and spray. We talked about that earlier. Is how do you drive around a field and do precision agriculture that has both environmental and economic benefits to our farmers in producing food. Vitor Martins in the back over here has done some really exciting stuff with field boundary extraction using machine learning. And right now we're working with Dr. Lee to explore more simulation and model in regards to poultry disease spread, right? So if anybody here likes eggs, like I do, I have 2 every morning with a little bit of avocado toast. So I'm kind of a mix of a Generation X and a millennial. So if the avocados ever start not flowing as well, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. So anyway, those are some really exciting things here at Mississippi State University. I'm really happy to be part of the HPC. Another group of people, last group is, so if you're an agricultural person, I don't want you to be kind of a halfway computer scientist. I want you to focus on your area of expertise. So we're developing this thing called a research computing facilitator. I've been able to hire 2.5 in the last year. And what these are people is, these are computer scientists that are dedicated to helping you take your data and apply our AI models that we know about. Again, I mentioned computer scientists are really good at models and games. So we're kind of an inch deep and a mile wide. So if you've got a lot of data and you've got some ideas on how to apply AI, we can help you onboard your data, we can help you get your models running, and then when you get a result back from it, we won't have any idea what it means, but you probably will. So that is what's exciting. Again, I'm the last guy, and I'm just up here with a lot of other important people. So I'm going to get off. Welcome to the event. Really glad to be here, and I hope to see you around.
Okay, very good. Thanks again, all of you, for being here and for giving some comments for the conference. By my clock, we've got about 11 minutes before our keynote speaker will come up and start speaking. So I would suggest that we take that 11 minutes to refresh a drink, go to the restroom. Please come back, be here by 2, and we will kick off our keynote. Thank you.